Thank you for coming to volunteer orientation today at Shelter Hope Thousand Oaks. One of the most important things you're going to learn today, and I'll test you on it later, is going in and out of these pens. These playpens are where most of the dogs stay during the day, and Abby, our volunteer, is going to show you how to get in and out of them. Now notice she walked in frontward. What you might not have seen is that she shuffled her feet back and forth so that no dogs could get out. This one little dog here, if he got out, he would run right to the door and a customer could come in and then he would be outside. So if that happens, say for instance you're going in and a dog gets out, the first thing you want to do is scream, "Dog out!" really loud. The reason we want you to do that is because who's ever closest to the door, they will guard the door. See, customers don't know that a dog might have gotten out. So I will say if a customer walks up, I'll say, "1 second, please." We'll get the dog, we'll put the dog back in the playpen, and then everybody's safe. So remember, dog out, very loud. While she's in this pen, there's lots of chores to do. You want to make sure that the water bowls are clean and that they're full of water. You want to make sure that there's a pee pad on the ground. Picking up after the dogs is one of the chores that you'll encounter while you're socializing with our dogs. So we have all the items here to pick up after them. There's paper towels and there's cleaning solution and then there's a garbage can. So whenever a dog does that, you just clean up after it. Fortunately, we walk our dogs once an hour. So once the dogs are walked, they typically won't go to the bathroom in here, but sometimes they're disoriented when we get them from the shelters and they don't really know what's inside and what's out. So it's a good thing to have all the supplies that you need in case you need them to pick up after. You want to make sure that there's some bedding and maybe a blanket or a towel. Some dogs don't like the bedding. Maybe they've never had a bed before and don't understand how warm and cozy it can be. So we always put blankets down and they go where they want to go. Another thing you might want to pay attention to is what's on the wall. We've got cleaning supplies, we've got a water bottle, we've got all the tools that you might need while you're there. We've got some grooming tools in there, a brush, a comb, we've got some bones, which are like Nyla bones, squeaky toys. So while you're in there, you want to make sure that you're interacting with the dogs. One big mistake that a lot of people make is thinking if they see a dog that seems a little bit shut down and maybe hiding in the corner, they think that they should get on its level and put their face right to it. That's the very wrong thing to do. I've worked with a lot of trainers, and the best thing you can do when you've noticed that a dog is a little bit shut down, ignore the dog. Sit in one of the chairs or sit in the opposite end of the pen on the floor and ignore the dog. Eventually the dog will come over to you, but getting in the dog's face is a huge mistake and you could get bit. And you don't want to get bit. And we don't want you to get bit. So that's something that's very important. The other thing is while you're in here, raise your hand or say something to Lorette or Raquel or me, and we'll help you. I mean, asking questions is really important because maybe you're here for community service, or maybe you're here because you really want to get to know animals. We want to help you with that. We want it to be a good experience. On each of our dogs, we have a collar. On the collar is a tag with our name, Shelter Hope Pet Shop. It has the phone number here and emergency phone number. If you decided to foster one of our dogs, we would put your number on the back of the tag. So when you're here to volunteer, make sure that the dogs always have their tag on. For any reason it might have gotten off, let one of us know and we'll put it back on. The other thing is we always have a harness on the dogs. Particularly one of the reasons we use this harness is because we don't want to pull the dogs by the neck when we're walking them. It's real important for the dogs to feel secure and for us to feel secure, but by using the harness we pull them at the better part of their body and it doesn't, pull their neck out of joint. Some of these dogs have never been walked before on a leash, and it's good for us and it's good for them to feel like they have us right there and they learn to heel with us. While they're in here, you always want to take this off, so you take this off and you'll hang it over the pen like this. Notice there's a poop bag on here. We always have these available because when we do walk them, you want to make sure that you pick up and clean up after your little doggy. We are donated the space in this mall, and we want to keep it really clean. We are so blessed to be here, and we thank Newmark Merrill and the Jan's Marketplace for making that happen. We have saved almost 3,000 dogs in the 5 years that we have been here. So it's quite an accomplishment, and our volunteers are the reason we've been able to do that. If you've been a regular volunteer, you'll know what to do. If it's your first time volunteering, then we'll take you and set you up in a pen, and we'll probably set you up in a pen where we know that the dog is pretty easy. We don't want to overwhelm you the first time. And the other thing that you might be interested in is our board. On any given day, these are the names of the dogs that are here today. And then over here is their breed, or what we believe to be their breed. Over here is the sex, the age, the neuter, whether they're house trained or not. Now we always tell people they're not house trained because in every new house, they're going to need a retraining, you know, because they need to know where the back door is. They need to know if they're going to be going out. They need to know if they need to hold it. But here we walk them, so hopefully they get out enough so that they don't do it in here. The most important part is the overnight foster. Are they going to CBW, which is Camp Bow Wow? Or is Susan going to take Miko home? Well, we know that when Susan came in this morning, she said she would take Miko. Susan is one of our regular fosters, so she will take Miko home until Miko gets adopted. It's so valuable for us. Fosters, we're always desperate for fosters, so if that's a question you have anything about, please come talk to us because we can get you set up.
What about like health and safety? What if I have a cold?
Yeah, if you have a cold, we generally say, please don't come here. There's only so few of us that have to be here every day, and if we get your cold, then we can't take care of the dogs. Cleaning up with this or washing at the sink is really good, but if you have a cold, just stay at home. We've got some people coming in right now to look at dogs, so what we will do when we see a group like that coming in with some children, we want to go over and make sure that the mother understands that, you know, we're not going to put our hands underneath, we're not going to take a baby and put it over, you know, we're going to be on top of it because they're children and they don't know, you know, we don't want them to get hurt. Are you guys looking for a doggy? Maybe? Okay. So when people are just looking for a dog, we don't try to pressure them. We do try to let them know that these dogs were at risk at one point in their lives and now they're safe. They don't have to feel bad when they leave here for not taking a dog. We recommend them going to a shelter. If they really want to save a life, they can go to a shelter. It's good for the public to see what the shelter system is all about because our tax dollars are paying to kill dogs and it's their tax dollars too. So we're a nonprofit. We're okay, these dogs are safe, but like I would love it if they would go and see a shelter. Maybe not take the toddlers to the shelter, but you know. We have plexiglass over the fencing so that people that are coming in from the outside don't have the inclination to put their hands through and touch the dogs. We want people to interact with the dogs, but not until we put them in a safer environment. A lot of the dogs might be fence aggressive and they'll come right up to the fence and put their face here. And so we have plexiglass here so that you can still see the dogs, but that the dogs can't hurt you. This volunteer is holding Pappas. He was found at one of the highest kill shelters in California, in San Bernardino, which is the primary source of where we get the dogs. I mean, we're fortunate to be in an area in Thousand Oaks where both of the shelters are considered low or no kill. But San Bernardino is high kill. We get dogs from San Bernardino, we get dogs from Bakersfield, Devore, Pomona, Riverside. Today we're getting a lot of dogs in from a situation where a woman had too many dogs and impregnated a lot of the other dogs on the property, and she has 26 dogs. And 19 of them will come here and then we'll filter out to other rescues. So it's really important to spay and neuter your dogs. All of the dogs here have been spayed, vaccinated. All of that costs money. Primarily the adoption fee does cover the cost for us, but then there are medical cases, like in Pappas's case, he required some additional medical care. He had to get blood work done, he had to have teeth pulled. Those are all the kind of things that we like to do before we get the dogs adopted, because we really pride ourselves on really taking care of these dogs. 90% of our dogs are fostered at night. 10% of them go to a place called Camp Bow Wow. Camp Bow Wow is a boarding facility. It has doggy daycare, it has training, it has grooming, and since we have been open, they have fostered at night at least 6 of our dogs. On any given night, we are allowed to bring them there and get free fostering. So they get to interact with other dogs, they get to be around trainers and people who love animals, because a lot of times these dogs, we're pulling them off of death row and we have no place to put them. In the case that's happening today, we're going to have dogs that we're going to need a place, and we're going to have to say, guess what, Camp Bow Wow, we're showing up. Thank goodness for Camp Bow Wow. With every adoption kit that we do with each dog, they go home with a free day of doggy training and a free day at day camp at Camp Bow Wow. That's a $150 value, and they're giving that to us on top of what they already give to us. So we beg our community members to please support them. If you have a dog, Use them when you're thinking about going out of town or when you just need to let your dog have some extra exercise. It's a great way for us to give back to them because they've given us so much and we are so thankful. So one of the great things that you get when you adopt one of our dogs is you get a free grooming at Indiana Bones and the Temple of Groom. She's been grooming our dogs for 5 years. We get 2 groomings. We get one when we get the dog, which you'll see today. They can be quite messy. And then you get one when you adopt the dog. So it's very helpful. For any reason, when you're here, if you have a question and you want to ask me a question, please, just raise your hand.
How old do I have to be to volunteer?
You have to be 12 years old. And your parent has to be with you. One of the reasons for this is because we really encourage parents to get to know their kids in a way that maybe they don't know and interact at home in the way that they would here. It's really important for us to know that our dogs are being handled. And when I say handled, we want the dogs to interact with all types of people, whether you're a mom or a dad or somebody in a wheelchair or somebody that's older or somebody that's got a hat on. These dogs need to know that in the real world that they're now in, there's all kinds of situations and all kinds of people. And the more we can expose them to that, the less inhibited that they will be and the less, mental rehab that they will need. A lot of these dogs may never have been socialized, and that's why they end up at this shelter. Some people will get a dog and then they won't potty train it, and then they'll take it to the shelter because they've had it for a year and it doesn't know how to go outside and use the potty. Well, we can cure that simply with some consistent behavior training. But while you're here, it's best that you just ask us and then we will show you, whether it's crate training, whether it's PPAD training. While you're here as a volunteer, if you see something like that and you have a question, let us help you because we may have some answers that we can help you. We're not trainers, but we've definitely worked with a lot of trainers and we know what works for our dogs. We also encourage people to bring us their kennels, their cages, anything that they might have gotten for their dog maybe when it was a puppy and now it's grown up and it can't use it anymore. We recycle that stuff. We use it for other dogs that we have, for other puppies that we have, and we rarely say no to anything. We love to get donated dog food and things like that, but we do have a specific brand that we use. We use the Kirkland Costco Puppy and the Kirkland Adult Lamb and Rice. We also have a wish list on our website of things that you want to buy us, like bring us some paper towels. We always use paper towels. So anything like that, sheets, towels, anything like that that you want to just donate to help us, we will take it. And if we can't use it, we make sure we give it to a rescue who will. Thank you for coming here today and volunteering at Shelter Hope Pet Shop in Thousand Oaks. So please come and volunteer. And if you have any questions, email us, info@shelterhopepetshop.org. Remember, there are 5 million animals killed in America's shelters yearly. We've got to do something about it. And today you did. You volunteered. Thanks.